The final book of the Bible is called Revelation. It was a vision given to the Apostle John, showing him what would happen in the future. John was a prisoner on the lonely island of Patmos. He was sent there for preaching about Jesus Christ, but God gave him a powerful message for the world. Suddenly, John saw a vision of the magnificent, glorified Jesus Christ. His presence was powerful, with eyes like fire and a voice like the sound of rushing waters. Jesus held 7 stars in his right hand and stood among 7 golden lampstands. This vision showed his authority over all of his churches, which he loves dearly. The first message was for the church in Ephesus. Jesus praised their hard work and patience, but he told them they had unfortunately forgotten their first love for him. He warned them to remember how they once felt. They needed to repent and do the things they did at first, or their lampstand would be taken away. The second message was for the church in Smyrna. Jesus knew about their suffering and their poverty, but he told them that they were spiritually very rich indeed. He encouraged them not to fear upcoming persecution and imprisonment. If they remained faithful even to the point of death, he promised them the crown of life as a reward. The third message was sent to the church in Pergamum. Jesus commended them for holding on to his name, even though they lived where Satan had his throne. However, he had a few things against them. Some there held to false teachings, so Jesus called them to repent, or he would come and fight against them. The fourth message was addressed to the church in Thyatira. Jesus praised their love, faith, service, and perseverance, noting that they were doing more now than at first. But he rebuked them for tolerating a false prophetess. This woman was leading his servants into sin. He called them to turn away from her wicked, deep secrets. The fifth message was for the church in Sardis. They had a reputation for being alive, but Jesus declared that they were spiritually dead and their works were unfinished. He urged them to wake up and strengthen what little remained. He told them to remember what they had received and heard, and to hold it fast and repent. The sixth message was for the faithful church in Philadelphia. Jesus praised them for keeping his word and not denying his name, even with their little strength. Because they had been so faithful, Jesus promised to keep them from the hour of trial that was going to come upon the entire world to test its inhabitants. The final message was sent to the lukewarm church in Laodicea. Jesus said they were neither hot nor cold, and their indifference made him want to spit them out. They thought they were rich, but were spiritually poor, blind, and naked. Jesus advised them to buy true spiritual riches from him and to be earnest and repent. After the letters, John's vision changed. He saw a door standing open into heaven, and a voice like a trumpet invited him to come up and see things. Immediately, John was in the Spirit, and he saw a throne in heaven. Someone was sitting on it, with an appearance like precious jasper and ruby stones. A beautiful, brilliant rainbow that looked like an emerald encircled the throne. This incredible sight was the centerpiece of the entire heavenly court, showing God's glory and covenant. Surrounding the main throne were 24 other thrones. Seated on them were 24 elders who were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. From the throne came flashes of lightning, rumblings, and peals of thunder. In front of the throne, 7 lamps were blazing, which are the 7 spirits of God. John also saw 4 strange living creatures covered with eyes. They were constantly giving glory, honor, and thanks to God on the throne, crying out, "Holy, holy." In God's right hand, John saw a scroll. It was sealed with 7 seals and had writing on both the inside and the outside, containing God's plan. A mighty angel proclaimed with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one in heaven or earth was found worthy. John began to weep bitterly because no one was found who was worthy. It seemed that God's great plan for all of creation could not be revealed to anyone. Then, one of the elders told John not to weep. He said, "See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll. John looked and saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing in the center of the throne. This lamb was Jesus Christ, who died for sins. The lamb took the scroll from God's right hand. When he did, the 4 living creatures and 24 elders fell down before him in complete and total worship. They sang a new song of praise to the Lamb. They declared that he was worthy to open the scroll because he was slain and had purchased people for God. The first seal was opened by the Lamb. A rider on a white horse appeared, holding a bow. He rode out as a conqueror, bent on conquest and victory. When the Lamb opened the second seal, another horse came out. This one was fiery red, and its rider was given power to take peace from the earth. As the third seal was opened, a black horse appeared. Its rider was holding a pair of scales, signifying a time of great famine and economic hardship for all. The Lamb opened the fourth seal, revealing a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades followed close behind him, giving power over a fourth of the earth. At the opening of the fifth seal, John saw the souls of martyrs. They were under the altar, crying out for God to judge the inhabitants of the earth. When the sixth seal was opened, there was a great and powerful earthquake. The sun turned black, the moon turned blood red, and the stars in the sky fell. The seventh seal was opened, and there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. It was a dramatic pause before the next set of judgments was unleashed. After the silence, 7 angels who stood before God were each given a trumpet. Another angel took a censer and offered incense with the prayers of all God's people. An interlude occurs before the trumpets sound. John sees 4 angels holding back the 4 winds of the earth, preventing them from blowing and causing destruction for a time. Then another angel appeared, carrying the seal of the living God. He called out to the 4 angels, telling them not to harm the land, sea, or trees. This was so that the servants of God could be sealed. The angel placed a special mark on the foreheads of 144,000 people from all 12 tribes of Israel. This divine seal was a sign of God's protection. It would keep these specific individuals safe from the terrible divine judgments that were about to come upon the earth. After this, John saw a huge crowd that no one could count. They were from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and the Lamb. They were all wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands. They cried out in a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our God and the Lamb." An elder explained to John that this great multitude had come out of the great tribulation. Their robes were made white in the blood of the slain Lamb. They would serve God day and night in his temple. They will never again be hungry or thirsty, and God will wipe every tear from their eyes forever. The first angel sounded his trumpet. Hail and fire mixed with blood were hurled down on the earth, and a third of the earth and the trees were burned up. The second angel sounded his trumpet. Something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea, turning a third of the sea into blood and killing creatures. The third angel sounded his trumpet. A great star, blazing like a torch and named Wormwood, fell from the sky onto a third of the rivers and springs. The fourth angel sounded his trumpet. A third of the sun, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars were struck, turning them dark during day and night. The fifth angel sounded his trumpet. A star that had fallen to earth was given the key to the abyss. He opened it, and smoke billowed out from it. Out of the smoke, powerful locusts came down upon the earth. They were not to harm the grass, but only those people who did not have God's seal. The sixth angel sounded his trumpet. A voice from the golden altar released 4 angels who were bound at the great river Euphrates, who then led a massive army. This army of 200 million horsemen killed a third of mankind. Yet the rest of mankind who survived these plagues still did not repent of their evil deeds. Then John saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven. He was robed in a cloud, with a rainbow above his head, and his face was like the sun. The angel was holding a little scroll, which was open in his hand. He planted his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. John was instructed to take the little scroll from the angel and to eat it. It was sweet as honey in his mouth, but it turned his stomach sour. John was then told that he must prophesy again. He was given a measuring rod and instructed to measure the temple of God and the altar and its worshippers. God announced he would appoint 2 witnesses. They would prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, as a powerful testimony to the world during this difficult time. These 2 witnesses are given great power from God. They can devour their enemies with fire, shut up the sky so that it will not rain, and strike the earth. When they finish their testimony, a beast that comes from the abyss will attack them. The beast will overpower them and ultimately kill them in the great city. For 3.5 days, the inhabitants of the earth will celebrate over their dead bodies. They will refuse to bury them and will exchange gifts in celebration. But after 3.5 days, a breath of life from God will enter them. They will stand on their feet, and great terror will strike all those who see them. Then the 2 witnesses will ascend up to heaven in a cloud while their enemies watch. At that very hour, a severe earthquake will strike the entire city. A great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven to John. It was a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. This woman is often interpreted as representing the nation of Israel, God's chosen people. Another sign appeared in heaven. It was an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. This great dragon is identified as the devil or Satan himself. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth. He intended to devour her child the moment it was born, destroying God's promised Messiah. The woman gave birth to a male child who will rule all the nations. Her child was snatched up to God and to his throne, safe from the dragon. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The dragon and his angels fought back, but were not strong enough to win the battle. The great dragon was hurled down to the earth. He lost his place in heaven forever, and he was filled with fury because he knows his time is short. After this, John saw a beast rising out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, and it looked like a leopard, a bear, and a lion. The dragon gave the sea beast his power, his throne, and great authority. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed this beast, who spoke proud words. The beast was given authority to rule for 42 months. He waged war against God's holy people and was given authority over every tribe, people, and nation. Then John saw a second beast, this one coming out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, but it spoke with the powerful voice of a dragon. This second beast is also called the false prophet. He performs great signs and miracles, even making fire come down from heaven to deceive the people of the earth. The false prophet directed all people to make an image in honor of the first beast. He then gave breath to the image, causing it to speak and kill dissenters. He also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, to receive a mark. This mark was placed on their right hands or on their foreheads to show loyalty. This mark was required for anyone to buy or sell. This is the infamous mark of the beast, which is tied to his name or his specific number. This calls for wisdom. The number of the beast is a human number, and that specific number is 666, a symbol of ultimate human imperfection. Then John's vision shifted to Mount Zion. There before him stood the Lamb, and with him were the 144,000 who had his name and his Father's name on them. John heard a sound from heaven like the roar of rushing waters. The 144,000 sang a new song before the throne, a song no one else could learn. Next, John saw an angel flying in midair. He had the eternal gospel to proclaim to those who live on the earth, to every nation, tribe, and language. A second angel followed, shouting a message of doom. He said, "Fallen! Fallen is Babylon the Great, the city that corrupted the nations with its evil influence." A third angel followed them, warning in a loud voice. He said, "Anyone who worships the beast and his image and receives his mark will face God's full wrath." After the angels, a voice from heaven told John to write a blessing. "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on," it joyfully proclaimed. John looked and saw a white cloud, and seated on the cloud was one like a son of man. He had a golden crown and a sharp sickle. An angel told him to take his sickle and reap. The time to harvest the earth had come, because the harvest of the earth was now fully ripe. John then saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous. 7 angels were prepared to unleash the 7 last plagues, which would complete the wrath of God on earth. The first angel went and poured out his bowl on the land. Ugly, painful sores broke out on the people who had the mark of the beast and worshipped him. The second angel poured out his bowl on the sea. It turned into blood like that of a dead person, and every living thing that was in the sea died. The third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water. They also became blood, as a just punishment for the world shedding saintly blood. The fourth angel poured out his bowl on the sun. The sun was allowed to scorch people with fire, and they were seared by the intense, burning heat. The fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast. This plunged his entire kingdom into complete darkness, and people gnawed their tongues in agony. The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates. Its water was completely dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. The seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air. A loud voice from the throne said, "It is done." Then came a massive earthquake and giant hailstones. An angel showed John the judgment of the great prostitute Babylon. She sat on many waters and on a scarlet beast and represented the world's corrupt, evil system. A mighty angel picked up a boulder and threw it into the sea. He declared that with such violence, the great city Babylon will be thrown down, never to be found again. Jesus gives a final promise and warning. He says, "I am coming soon." The book ends with an invitation for all to come and take the free gift of life.